Okay, I'm using my fingers. So if you guys want to figure out which class it is, I'll use my fingers until I run out of them. So this is the second prequel class leading up to our first 30 days of Imagineering work. And again, the reason why I'm giving you so much backstory is because the number one thing that you're going to need on and in this boot camp for the next 90 days is faith. And you're going to need faith in understanding how powerful your bodies are and just how much power you have over it until it becomes you. All right. Right now, if you are, and I was looking at some of the symptoms, I asked you guys to throw out there in the Facebook group, like what's going on with you. It's just that will help me feed it into some of the classes because I literally kind of articulate some of the diseases or stresses that you guys are sharing. That helps me dive into the emotional reasons. So right now, you're probably feeling like your body is the master of you. And the voice in your head that is on automatic is some sort of an authority over you. And that's going to change really quickly because although that voice can feel very real and that doubt and that condescending and that passive aggressive and that critical and that pessimist and that angry and that bitter, resentful part of that mind that has had to live in this world where you haven't had freedom and you haven't had your prosperity yet. There's an understanding there, but ultimately, all of that voice that counteracts that which you choose is not you. So the second part of this kind of introduction, and there's a couple of other videos that I've released that I've done in my non-duality classroom this year and our fellowship class that I think I'm going to add for you guys. Just so if you're going to binge something for the next 3 months, please keep it consistent in the subconscious reprogramming. Because honestly, this entire 90-day boot camp is nothing more than us taking however old you are and reprogramming that subconscious mind. Because once your subconscious mind is reprogrammed, you will never again have to deal with certain things that you've been dealing with your whole life because your subconscious mind is creating the reality that you see with your 5 senses. Okay. So the reality that you're seeing right now, it isn't real. It is a projection and a reflection of your belief systems. So let's look at a script, and that is the story that is in the subconscious mind and the actor that would get that script and then read it verbatim. Now, in that script, if I was going to make a movie, I would say, okay, here's my script producer. And now, make sure I'm recording. Now, I need actors to play certain parts. I need certain stages. I need certain props. I need cinematography. I need backdrops. I need filler people to be like interacting. And I need obstacles, challenges, opportunities, and things like that to be a part of this movie. So ultimately, my character can triumph, right? Or fail, however, I'm going to, run the script. But there is one root wound at the base of all of us, okay? And I gave it to you guys in a quantum fitness video probably about a year ago. And it was about how the 7 chakras are laid out and how they create a satellite perspective for you to play out your virtual reality. So when your script is intact, okay, and the script is, again, is the idea, the compilation of your stories, what has been perceived, what has been received, what has been realized, what has been bought into, what has been believed, and then the resistant factor, because the law of resistance plays a huge part in your reality right now. What you are resisting, you are actually chasing energetically, and what you are avoiding is chasing you. All right, because that's the way that the holographic spiral or the mirror works, right? So when we're looking at your particular script, now you didn't write this script. This script was was basically given to you during a 7-year span of in and out consciousness, which means your brain was in theta. And theta is that place between sleep and awake where you are half in your own world and half in this circumstantial world. And you're not really taking any of it really to heart unless it creates some sort of break in your flow. And then you might have a tantrum, or, you might be afraid of something. And the more sensitive and empathic you were as a child, probably the more difficult your first 7 years were, because you were really attuned to more of that spirit world than you were physical reality. And usually girls, because they're so emotionally put together, that they have that easier time being in that spirit world those first 7 years than the real world. And so they live more in behind the scenes type of energy. They're acting out, but they're acting out, which was what's going on behind closed doors. And they're kind of deciding and discerning. Now, boys are more usually visual and tactile and destructive, and not on purpose, but just because they're working in that imagination of that circumstance, that are working in their imagination in circumstances. And so that's kind of a unique difference. But ultimately, your script, which was your subconscious programming, begins to solidify on that 7th year, which means it starts to shut. So things that are coming in and out, deciding, discerning, preferring, wanting, not wanting, it's such a gray area that you not probably once was like, nope, I choose not to believe in this. Now, you might have had the thought, when I grow up, I'm not going to do that, or I'm going to run away from home. But there was no like authority presence within your awareness, because your bodies were already kind of being taught to you to move away from. Like, don't feel that, don't think that, don't say that. So you were already kind of creating a buffer between your awareness and your body by the time you were 7. And so each program has its own set of sensory and senses connected to it. So you've heard of something called like holiday PTSD or event PTSD, or, every year on your birthday, this happens, or, this time of year, I get hay fever, or, every summer I experience that. Well, during those first 7 years, you were also in circumstances with different smells, different touches, different tastes, different feels, different type of people, different places, like different events, and also different seasons within yourself, right? And at 7, those sex hormones and the sacral start to really blossom within, and it starts to kind of make us move into more of a primal survival mechanism between the ages of like 7 and 11. And so 7 is kind of like where things start to get a little bit more serious with us. And whatever we have downloaded, whether it's true or complete garbage, it becomes who we are, right? And then we begin the journey of not saying, I choose not to be this, the journey of fighting against it, the journey of hiding it, the journey of trying to fix it, the journey of avoiding it. We want to be invisible, but we want to be seen. And so regardless of whether you had a good childhood or not, you still went through the first 7 years that wasn't all about your choices or all about you as the center of the universe. And if you had very custodial parents that made sure that you had a roof over your head and your meals, then you probably were dealing with other insecurities. And what I've seen, and I fall into this category too, the more survival you were in your first 7 years, the more intuitive you became, because you had to read body language. You had to be more aware. You had to grow up really fast. You had to be more of a parent. You had to, watch your own back. It wasn't like you could just, play all day long and you were supported. So that's another reason why it gets all messed up. So each one of your programs has its own set of filters, right? There's only one root program, and it is unworthiness. So the I am, which is who you really are as the God self within you, becomes I am not. And I think that I am not is a better kind of idea of what we built ourselves out of than like unworthiness. Because unworthiness, when you ask a child, they're like, I don't know what that means. So when I did hypnosis on my inner child and I said, are you unworthy? She said, I don't know what you mean. I'm just not allowed. So allowed would dictate whether a child was worthy or deserving or not. So what were you allowed to do? This dictates your self-identity, your allowance, okay? What you were allowed to do, who you were allowed to be, what you were allowed to say, what you were allowed to share. Was it safe for you to be emotional? Was it safe for you to be afraid? Was it safe for you to be angry? Was it safe for you to be sick? Was it safe for you to not be sick, right? So there's so many levels I talked about in our last video. Make sure you watch the number 1. And I talked about the art of manipulation to try to be thyself in the environment that is saying no. And a lot of you are still manipulating constantly and have no idea you're doing it, which means you're constantly bargaining and settling and going around and walking on eggshells just to live your life as adults. And you don't even know you're doing it because you're running that same program. I know I found myself doing this last year and I was like, okay. So these 5 senses are going to make up the story that is going to run and be active. Okay, so that is the way something smells, the way something feels in a touch, something tastes, right? So this is why we can get addicted to people, because they feel like something that we remember as our state of being, or it feels like maybe something I lost. Let's say I was real charismatic as a kid, but then all of a sudden, my family shut me down, or I got molested and I didn't feel safe with being my own light anymore. And so I grow up with that light buried inside of me. And of course, I'm going to attract someone who has my buried light, but also my buried pain. And I'm going to be really obsessed with this person because they have something that I believe I have lost. They also have something that I'm hiding from. And I'm going to call that like my twin flame. And I'm going to be addicted to this person because they have the charisma that I know I had before it was taken, but they also have my pain, which I'm running away from, which means I'm attracting. And this is what causes our loop to be continuing attracting to our subconscious programs. So we are here to read off of a script. You are the actor of your script. You're the archetype of your script. So let me ask you this. Are you a winner? Are you a hero? Are you a savior? Are you a healer? Are you a do-gooder? Are you a people pleaser? Are you a doormat? Are you invisible? Are you bitter? Are you hiding? Are you a loser? Right? Are you embarrassed of yourself? Are you insecure? Because whatever you just answered to that you feel right now, your conscious mind never wants to feel those things about you unless it's the winner or, the things that are representing as positive. But ultimately, who you are right now could possibly be the same person that didn't want to be any of those things at 7 years old. And this is what we've got to change, because your time does not heal what we call the pain body or the subconscious baggage. It doesn't. And it doesn't stop the running of the programs to learn spiritual data. It doesn't stop your subconscious programs to take another course. Even though this is a course on unpacking your subconscious mind. So this isn't where I want to teach you guys something that you just, we're going to hold on and get a dopamine hit from. Matter of fact, this next 90 days, you're going to have to create your dopamine from somewhere else, because you're not going to get necessarily a high from the stuff I'm telling you, because it's time to unpack. Okay. And I'm going to talk a lot about intuition and how to trust, because your subconscious has an intuition that you follow 90% of the time. You unknowingly are following the intuition of your subconscious psychic powers to take your next move in life. And what happens is usually a subconscious intuition will feel exciting. It will feel like hope. It will feel like finally I'm gonna get this problem solved. And that subconscious loop, intuition, will then very quickly, within a few weeks, feel bad. Okay. Now, an intuition that is going to come from your higher power is going to feel bad in the beginning and feel great in a few weeks. This is how you know. It's kind of like people ask me all the time, what's the difference between an urge and a craving? Okay. Or an intuition and an ego, desire. Well, the truth of it is usually the ego desire is 100% linked. So your manager of your subconscious mind is your ego. Your ego is going to run the program behind your back. It's going to sabotage you. It's going to make sure that this program runs because your entire virtual reality game is based on your subconscious programs and nothing else, which means the simulation that you are sitting in, the senses you are looking at, how you're seeing me right now is not actually how I am. It's how you see me through your subconscious program. The voice you're hearing right now from me is filtering through your subconscious program. Okay. Whatever you ate this morning is filtered through your subconscious program. How things feel and the way you wear them, your subconscious program. All right. So as your programs change, your world is very much going to change. How you see outside and definitely how you see this. All right. And which is a good thing. So these five senses have such a trigger point because the number one thing that is going to throw you into a trigger or re-loop your subconscious programs from the beginning is, number one, if you finished a loop, it's going to start again, no matter what. I don't care if you've moved. I don't care if you lost 100 pounds. I don't care if you finally got your dream job. I don't care if you just did, another retreat. I don't care if you won the lottery. Your program is about to run again if you haven't deprogrammed it, which means that whatever happens to you at the end of something great, what always happens will happen again. This is why I've been telling my class in non-duality this year, guys, your purpose is not to write that book or to do anything except deprogram your subconscious mind and reprogram it. Do not do anything else in physical reality until you have done this. Otherwise, it's going to be 10 steps forward and 10 steps back because your loop program starts on a high. Okay, I taught this in quantum fitness. It starts as hope. Hope will turn into excitement. Excitement turns into an expectation. An expectation is going to lead to disappointment, and disappointment is going to end in you feeling like a failure or a loss. And every time you have another loss, it proves the unworthiness. So the whole premise of your programming is to prove your root belief without a shadow of a doubt. So if that is, I'm a loser, then you're going to prove that in the relationship. If it is, I'm unworthy or undeserving, you're going to prove that with money. If it is, I'm not good enough and I am ugly, you're going to prove that in the mirror. Okay, so no matter what you do in physical reality, your five senses will be used against you. Physical reality will be used against the awareness you, the one who's desiring something different. And the forces of the universe are always going to be in alignment with the subconscious mind's program, which means an actor can't take a script that they wrote last night and show up on stage with all the actors that are reading the other script and all the props that go with the other script and all of the people that are there for a specific script and start reading a different script. Okay, your entire cast will attack you or shame you. And this is what happens when you try to change your program in physical reality. Okay. You get shamed, you get shunned, right? You get judged. Everybody on stage wants to remind you that the theme of this movie is that we all prove that you are unworthy. Don't you know that? And it feels horrible. But the virtual reality simulation that you're in to allow yourself to actually be physical is like you signed up for it, which means in order for spirit to slow the vibration down enough to have a physical expression, there are certain laws, okay, that you're going to follow here. The law of polarity, the law of karma, like there's laws that I've actually put in your, if you go into your Facebook group under albums, under picture albums, I put a crap ton of visuals for you that are going to go perfectly in alignment with what I'm teaching you. Everything is there. The occult data is there. The scripture data is there. It's all going to be there. Okay. How this all actually is designed is sitting there for your visual masculine representation of the emotional journey I'm taking you on. So everything seems against you because everything in your physical reality right now is attached to your script. It cannot be different. And that's why in the beginning, you're not going to see a huge amount of changes outside of you. Because what it has to happen is first the awareness has to come in and take charge of the script. Then decide who this new actor is, who this new you is. And then through rewriting, right, reprogramming, rehypnotizing, reaffirming, right, replanting of the seed, recleaning of the soil, then the process will begin. And once the new script is in, okay, you can't break character. This is why I'm going to be with you guys like every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times, sometimes 2 or 3 videos a day. And of course, I do not expect you to get this done in 90 days, but I wanted you to have this before the new year in case you were like me and you were just done. If you are like, I'm done, I'm not going to do another year of this, like I deserve better, then it's here for you and you can go at your own pace. But this is going to be a lot because you're not going to change one thing. You're going to change everything. Because if there is a signature in your subconscious that says that I am unworthy, then every single thing in your reality has to prove that eventually. Now, it doesn't prove it right away, or people would just like kill themselves constantly. So there is this amnesia that happens every time a loop ends, and we end up feeling like a failure, or we feel lost, or feel rejected or abandoned. There is a period of time where the awareness, because you are at that surrender space, the awareness within you will kind of hijack the body and build you back up in hopes that you will really latch onto the awareness within you and then start to change the program. But this is what happens, and I will tell you, I've done this a million times, is I'll hit rock bottom after another loss. And the losses are not always the breakup. Sometimes it's you breaking your leg on the day of the marathon. It's you changing your mind at the last minute and not knowing why. It's you who is actually the saboteur. It's not always physical reality. I would say it's about 50-50. Like if physical reality doesn't stop you, you will stop you. You will forget the meeting. Like you will forget your password, like you'll forget your kid at school. Something will happen and you will be proven over and over again that you are unworthy. So when this loop is in its, like it has almost like a daytime and a nighttime. It's got like a sun time and a moon time. So it's got like where everything's aware, and then it's got a hidden side. Okay. And the hidden side you'd think would be at the end, and it's not. It's at the beginning because it's hypnotic. It's going to pull you back into this loop. And this loop that gets you sucked in is intoxicating. You feel so drawn to this. Like it's a hell yes. It's like, this is exactly what I want, because you have the unconscious, the subconscious, and the ego all saying yes to this. And at the base point of those 3 outlooks or vibrations, the undercurrent is we're going to prove we are unworthy again. Okay. Just like when you see a villain on a movie, no matter what he does, he's still a creep. It's like, even when he gets like, when they like give him a hall pass and like he still tries to kill them at the end. It's like he doesn't change his character, right? Because narcissistic energy, or energy that lacks empathy for others, has no emotion for you. Its entire purpose is to run that program, right? So I did a study back in college on serial killers. You know, women are so fascinated with these documentaries, but I think that's because we're so fascinated by the mind. And every single serial killer, they tracked it back to either attempted abortion, or the child was almost aborted by the body. So as the subconscious mind is forming those first 7 years, the program says kill or be killed. So there's no other awareness there than to run that program. And there's almost like a sexual attraction that happens. And it's not sexual. When you get into the sacral energy, I'll show you how sometimes kink and fantasies get really confused in manifesting, because in order for you to run this loop again unconsciously, you have to be in the primal brain. And the primal brain is all about attraction. It's about hunger. It's about passion. It's about pleasure. Okay. That's why when you really start growing and doing the work, it's not passionate. It's hard and it's uncomfortable, and there's not a lot of hormones there. I mean, look at addiction that you know can kill you, but you want it. You know that person's horrible for you, but you want them because they are part of your script. And the character actor that is married to this script, the conscious mind that's married to the subconscious mind, the actor and the script are in a union because that is what you signed up for. In order for you to have a physical experience here, you had to follow the rules of physicality, which means you're in a simulation. But in order for spirit to embody the body, okay, there was going to be a union, a masculine energy and a feminine energy, an action player and a script that they read off of. So they have a backstory. And I kind of use the analogy, if you guys have ever seen that movie Jumanji with The Rock and Kevin Hart, which I highly recommend. I should put it on your reading list, because in it, they're in one body form and they're all going through their own unique self-concept issues. And they end up in this video game where their archetype bodies look completely different. But they have to learn this new character that they're in, and they realize that their archetype has limitations and it has potentials. And so the limitations are going to hold them back from winning this game, but the potentials, right, are going to help them win. And everybody's potentials and weakness kind of worked perfectly together. And that's why they made the perfect puzzle piece. And I will tell you that when you're co-creating here, it's exactly set up that way. So in order for you to beat Jumanji or beat the third dimensional reality, you've got to learn that you are reading from your subconscious script. And the subconscious script with most humans, okay, we start as I am, and our baseline subconscious program is I am not. I am not worthy. I am not a winner. I am not loved. I am not allowed. I am not wealthy. I am not healthy. I am not beautiful. Fill in the blank. Okay. Right now, I am not what is running right before your eyes. Okay. Take a minute and write it down, because a lot of this work, guys, that we're going to be doing together, you've got to stop me, because I'm going to go fast. Your job is to pause me and integrate this information to embody it. So pause me right now and just sit down and think, what am I the actor reading from the script of I am not right now? I am not wealthy. Well, if you don't have the money, then you are. If I am not feeling beautiful, write it down. If I am not healthy, write it down. Okay. If I am not this, great. And it's just, you'll see that one of the most important things of this entire boot camp is accepting where you currently are to form a new union. Because the thing about unworthiness is that your ego is designed for the conscious mind to constantly act out the subconscious. So when the conscious mind, which is the you think you are, that's showing up every day going, I'm going to go to the gym today, and then you end up in the Wendy's drive-thru at 1 o'clock, right? And that went to shit. Okay. So the ego's job is to make sure that the conscious mind continues to run this program no matter what. But it also knows that there's an awareness there that could change this story at any time. And so there's a lot of diversion. That's why you guys will watch me. You'll get a penny drop, you'll get aha moment, and then the next day you'll forget, or you'll fall asleep, or your ego will get real triggered by me, because I'm here to say, I'm going to play Morpheus for you in your matrix. And I'm going to say, stop the movie and find out where you are. Because if you do not, your conscious awareness, in order to save its own grace and save itself from humility and embarrassment and grief and loss and recognizing how much of their life they've just thrown away, it keeps you in an alternate reality so that you will never truly believe that you're unworthy. It will keep you searching for worth. It'll keep you hoping for worth. It'll keep you pursuing worth. It'll keep you studying worth. It'll keep you feeling worthy than others. Because there is something that I noticed a lot when I was going through my deprogramming, that I would have these moments of feeling really unworthy and then super arrogant in like the same 5 minutes. And I was like, ooh, that's interesting. Like, you know, the analogy I always give is, if you've ever been like, if you've had the audacity of having to be on dating sites, and you know, you're swiping and it's just like, oh my God, I'm better than this person, I'm way too good for this person, I'm way too attractive for this person, and this person is so hideous, and then boom, the most gorgeous person you've ever seen pops up, and you move into, I'm not enough. And then in order for you to not feel that, you then somehow put this person into a category of, they're not real, or they're a womanizer, or they're probably a jerk, or they live in the gym and that's not fun. And you start to make excuses for that gut feeling that popped up when you actually saw something that was at the quality and the caliber of something that you would desire. But in order to keep yourself away from your own worthy program, you'll shame or blame or, you know, hate on someone that just presented the image that helped you see yourself as the unworthy program. So the trigger is going to be where you're going to start pulling your thread. Ooh, tell me more about this jealousy. Tell me more about this competitive nature in me. Tell me more about why I'm comparing myself. Because so simultaneously, you're going to have this unconscious, subconscious program running of, I am not good enough, or I'm not allowed, or I'm not worthy. And it's going to have branches and flowers of arrogance and spiritual ego of, you're way more aware than everybody else, and you know way more than everything over here, and you are the leader over here, and you're the hero over here, and you're the savior over here, and this branch is the do-gooder, and this person is invisible. Because if you're invisible, nobody can make you feel unworthy. So you have all this cover up, and in non-duality we call it the masks that we wear. And so the masks that we wear are presented in different spaces of our life: time, relationship, health, and money. So in money, I could use this mask to cover up the unworthiness. Or in my job, I work so much to cover up the mask of unworthiness. Or as a mom, I'm overgiving to cover up the guilt and unworthiness. Or with my relationship, I'm shutting down because that's always making me feel unworthy. And I don't look in the mirror because, hello. Okay. So you've got to understand that you have created masks on top of masks on top of masks on top of masks to hide this root program. Now, ego's done that on purpose, because if you were going to just be like, I don't want this script, stop, I'm not interacting with this anymore, then you would change your game like that, which is why this is only going to take 90 days. And you would literally stop participating with any movie, any actor, any script that went against that which you desired. And that's what I want to help you do. especially before we start your Imagineering. Because once we start your Imagineering, that's where you've already like redesigned your character, and you're actually writing the script in the biography of the mind, which is going to imprint. It's going to code into the cellular memory. It's going to code into the muscle memory. And so then your new script will be reactive. Have you noticed that your subconscious programs are the first one on the scene? Like you're like, I'm going to be abundant today. And then you're scared when you go to the ATM. Okay. And you're like, because your reaction, your behavior is always going to be in alignment with the subconscious. Now, who you want to be is who you're affirming, is who you're journaling about, is who you're dreaming about, is who you're meditating about. But your body is 100% coded in the subconscious program of I am not, which means that probably 99% of your motivation and your drive is to prove that you are worthy or hide the fact that you're not. Okay. So if you guys have ever had an opportunity to use one of these, I highly recommend as your homework, you either find a kid that's got one of these, go rent one for the day, go buy a cheap one on Facebook, but get one that is like Oculus quality, because this has like the hand stuff. And when you put this on, your entire five senses is in another reality. And this is going to show you how reactive your body is to the environment, whether it's real or not. Okay, so one of the things that I used to do when I was having people come for my clinical research for quantum fitness, I'd have them come stay at my house for a week, and I would take them through like the extraction of the pain body. And it was very intense. I'm so proud of all of you that did that. But this is going to be way easier, because ultimately, if we got around to it, I would always have someone put this on, and I would take them to a video game called Walk the Plank. Now, one of many of people's secret phobias is heights. Not everybody, but heights. And when you put this virtual reality mask on and you begin to walk the plank, not only are you walking the plank, but spiders are crawling on you, and noises, and somebody's throwing a pie at your face. And if you are standing, right, your entire body in that moment believes that you are on a plank. And so it goes into complete fight or flight. Now I'm sitting here going, that's not real. And they're saying, I know it's not real, but my body is reacting like it is real. Okay. See, and the biggest problem with all of this is that this is exactly what you're doing in 3D. And any given moment, you could take this off and see that you don't owe anyone money, and that you're not hideous, and that you're not overweight, and that you're not about to lose everything, and you didn't just get dumped again, and you didn't, you do know what your purpose is, and you do remember that you're God, but you've got to take this off. Okay. But the thing is the ego says if she takes this off, the game is over. And so this is why we're doing some backstory here, because as long as you're wearing that virtual reality mask, then all five of your senses are going to be attracted and connected to the script, which means why you're allergic to things, why you don't like the way things taste, certain music, certain seasons, certain holidays, certain people's voices, the way people look, association with animals, association with loss, association with everything. This is why your personality, your self-concept is probably not a lot of who you are. Okay. Who you really are is the desires underneath all of that. It is where I'm going to take you when we start going into the higher power of you, and we start really like, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, because the more you let this program run, the more it destroys your body. The more you let these programs run, the more it destroys your life. Although it destroys it in a way where it always offers a breadcrumb at the end, because you'll have that rock bottom where awareness steps in, and you'll have kind of a glow up, ladies, right? We get rid of that guy and we like get back to the gym, or we get the new job and we're like, this time you have a glow up, because when you are at the rock bottom, you are not fighting against reality anymore. You're in a state of surrender. So higher self or awareness can come in and pick you up again and fill you up with self-love and self-care, because you have to take care of yourself, and you start to take your life back. And then what happens, as soon as you get confident enough to run the program again, the program will be presented to you. So take a breath. The program will be presented to you as soon as you get your confidence back, because you're going to need your confidence to run this program, because this program is going to almost kill you, and you're going to need to be in ship-shop shape. You're going to need to have all your energy back. So if you've ever had a narcissistic partner or a parent, this is exactly how they do it. And I highly recommend, if you guys have not watched my 7 stages of manipulation video on YouTube, watch it, because your ego does exactly the same thing to you during this program. It love bombs you. And that's how you get excited to run the program again. The love bombing will start, or the anticipation of what this could be, the fantasy of what this could be, or what he could be, or what this job could be, or what this new, boot camp could be, right? All of these things, like excitement of what could be. And I know every one of you guys is not that excited about this, because this is the real deal. All right. I wasn't excited to do this either, and I'm so glad I did. Okay. But anyways, so you're going to get excited to run this program again, and you're going to have no idea, because it's going to be feeling like everything that you need right now, all the missing pieces, or you're just so starved from, your last loss or your last failure that you're like, well, what can we do? And I'll show you what happens if you're not excited to run the program. I'll show you on the other side of that. Okay. Because if you don't run the program, then you get punished for not running the program. And I'll tell you about that next. Let me see what time we're at here. I don't know. I don't want to keep these. I don't want these too long, but I'll keep going. Okay. So as you get your glow up back after a loop ends. All right. You'll get excited, and you'll run the program again, and you'll run the program again, and you'll run the program again. And this is why, if you look at every area of your life, time, relationships, health, and money, the ones that feel the heaviest to you right now are the ones where the failures and the losses that the script made you act out unconsciously, they have like stolen your joy. Okay. They have stolen your power. They've stolen your desire to do this anymore. And see, if you don't get your glow up back, then what you do is you stay in the perpetual loss. So if you aren't super positive and outgoing and a go-getter, then you're not like me, and you're not fearless to jump back into the loop. You're staying down here in the loss every day. See, when you're running the loop, you don't have to feel the loss. You feel the excitement, you feel the anticipation, you feel the wonder, you feel the excitement, you see the opportunities, you meet the people along the way. And then as soon as you start to get into the moon time of that particular loop, people start to change on you, things start to ghost you, things start to flip away, stuff starts to move away from you, and you're now so invested by this loop that you're now trying to save everything you can so that you don't fail again, which means you give up your essence, you give up your time, you give up your money, you give up your soul, you give up your desires, because you're like, I can't lose again, because that feeling of loss is PTSD, and you can feel it brewing. So you literally abandon and reject yourself right about here. And that's when literally the prophecy of the loop sucks you in and brings you down. Now, I've kind of felt into the energy of this boot camp so far, and I would say that half of you are loop runners like me, and half of you are, what is the point? And it's not fair. And you're literally living failure and loss every day in avoidance, in hiding, in suffering, you've put your willpower and your creative forces into others. Okay. Which means you're not even like aware of running your own loops. You're watching everyone else run their loops right now, and you're worried for them. Come on, guys, be honest. I know this is what I do. So if you are running the loop, okay, and you're out there, you're going to find yourself butt hurt every 3 to 6 to 12 months. Okay. And if you're not running the loop, then you're probably stacking on more health issues. You're stacking on weight. You're stacking on problems. You're stacking on. So it's almost like even though you don't run the loop and you decide that not to play the game and you're down here, the game comes to you. Okay. The mother-in-law moves in or starts taking over something. It's like, no, even if you decide I'm not running, I'm not going to get a different job. I'm literally just going to watch TV, or I'm just going to put my head down and just exist. All of a sudden that loop, because it's your script, it's your archetype, it's your agreement to be here, to have this conscious subconscious relationship that makes up your masculine feminine energy. You're here to live a certain script and archetype. Now, the problem is that the one you were given in this particular template was the script of this template. So the whole 3-dimensional template is I am not God, or I am not allowed to be God, or I'm not what God is. And so you were birthed into someone else's temple, not because you were trapped or stuck or unworthy, but so you could see how the game was built and then decide, choose, and discern from the contrast and choices, and awaken the creative writer within you to create a new script that then the actor, the physical body, would act out. All right, that was the point. This is why in scripture there is like the idea of the Adam and Eve, and so we're all guilty because of those sins, and that's the first template where they all separated, like everyone separate from God. And then you have like the New Testament, right? So it's like the idea of the resurrection or the new man. And this is where I'm saying is the old you has to die. And because the soul programs make up your soul reality, so the subconscious mind has to become purified, aka baptism, and therefore you become a new man or woman, and therefore you are now a free man. You are the chosen one, the Jesus Christ, which means chosen salvation. You have to choose your own salvation here. So this virtual reality game is the Christ consciousness, but you have to go, I don't like being, punished for Eve and punished for Adam. I'd like to put this down, okay, and put it all down and say, this is not real, and I would like to make a new choice. But see, you've got, like I said, you've got the actor, which is you, who wants to run that loop or sit and let the loop attack you, okay? You have the script that is literally, bills are coming in the mail and people are, reading off the script to you, and your husband's reading off the script to you, and physical reality is reading off the script to you, and the news is reading off the script to you. And so you've got everything coming at you that is this old script, along with your body that is programmed to not break character. That's why you're reactive, okay? So reactive. So this is why we have so much time in Imagineering, is because that awareness that is you, that aches for you, that you know who you are above this body, above this reality, that awareness is got to come down into this body and start taking command of everything. And the way that we do that without causing a mutiny, because it will call it, if you start just going, I'm this and I'm that and I'm beautiful and I'm that, your entire reality will create a mutiny on you, because they are programmed, and it doesn't mean they don't love you, but they're playing off your virtual reality game, okay? They're in your movie and you're in theirs. So telepathically, they are reading from your script, and they have to make you feel unworthy, even by loving you a certain way. They have to. Okay, this is where that like pre-programmed guilt and shame comes from, guys. Like, you can't be a mother and not feel guilt and shame. Like, you can't feel a father and feel like you're not providing. So it's It's built into the template of this game. So when my son is playing a game, there are rules of that world he has to follow. He can't just create character and say, I'm going to go play a different game, because everybody would kill him and attack him and he would have to leave the game. And so it's kind of like Sims, where you get to build your own world. But the way that I want to show you guys how to do this is to not start speaking about this to a whole movie production that has already set itself up. It's already action, and say, I don't want to be this unworthy person anymore, because that will cause you so much insecurity and so much reactive triggers that you won't be able to keep your awareness. So your awareness is something you're going to be working on when you are alone, because it's really about establishing the relationship with your higher self and having that higher power within you, the awareness within you, come into the body and slowly but surely, like, write this different script. And yes, ego is going to sabotage this relationship a lot in the beginning, and you're going to feel like there's a civil war going on and mental warfare, but that's why I'm here with you. And there's also going to be a lot of joy. But this is, once you start to actually take back the script and start really commander in chiefing it, the body begins to fall in love with this new energy within you. This higher power feels so much better than blame and shame. It feels so much better than anger. It feels so much better than the dopamine hit you got from eating a bunch of sugar. It feels alive, because that's what the body wants. That's why it wants to run the loop again, because it says, well, at least we felt alive. At least we will feel wanted for 3 months. It feels we feel like happy. Okay, so this virtual reality that you are in, you're still going to be in. But in this particular scenario, what I'm going to do with you guys is I'm going to show you not only how to just build a new character in your old reality, I'm going to show you how to build a new template. Because manifest your dream body, the template is your body. Your body, 75 trillion cells, are all programmed to be exactly what your subconscious mind believes it is. So when you change the cellular memory, the muscle memory, the coding in your blood and your lymph and your bones and your 5 senses, then what happens is that is going to project outside of you a new world, because this is the universe. Remember, I've got visuals of occult information in your files in our Facebook group, and it shows you how you're not seeing outside. You're seeing inside the moving pictures that are your memories and programs, and you cannot have anyone in your reality that does not match your subconscious programming. So until the conscious you, comes in and reaffirms and takes command and changes that ice back into water and steam and recalibrates, reimagineers itself. Okay, so before we imagineer, we're going to begin to re-engineer ourselves, which means that if you've seen that movie Weird Science, okay, you are going to get to build yourself in your lab of creation, done in your frontal cortex, in your frontal lobe, the projector, the all-seeing eye, the you, the I am within you, and not have to go back off of the pictures of your circumstantial imagination. So remember, I'm going to show you how to leave imagination of circumstance and move into the field of possibilities, which is you're picking from every fabric of creation, which means you want a different skin color, different eye color, a different structure. Okay, so you guys, I have changed. If you go back and you look at videos of me 5 years ago, you will see, and I've not had surgery, that the shape of my face is different. I was so in fight or flight when my Kundalini exploded and I was running all this energy and channeling 12 hours a day that I was grinding my teeth so bad that I created like a cartoon character jaw that was like this big. Okay. Not to mention that I was in fight or flight all the time. So I was literally at 5 feet tall. I was like getting these bigger shoulders and like, and I was carrying 20 to 40 pounds on me. And I had really skinny lips. I've not had fillers. Okay. I had like really scrunchy eyes because I was like I was so rigid from a lifetime of like running these loops of failure. And even though my heart was good and I was giving you guys best information as I had back then, literally, like you go back and look, you'll see the changes. So and I also had this giant like pouch that I could not lose, like around my hips. And like I had the saddlebags and like horrible cellulite. I had varicose veins on my legs. I had stretch marks all over my body. Um, and yeah, I had autoimmune disease, which was fibromyalgia that feels like literally your entire everything in your body hurts all at once. I had migraines. I was raging eating disorder because it was the only thing I could kind of control. And it was the dopamine that I was looking for, the sweets, the sugar. So you guys, like, I know the power of this, not to mention my entire reality, where I live, how I live, my relationship with my kids, the relationships I have. Everything is going to be a byproduct of the new you. So starting with manifesting the body first, because I'm going to have different programs because these boot camps are just super fun. I'm going to have manifest your dream home, manifest your dream person, manifest your dream purpose. But ultimately, if you do this one, this is going to be the formula for everything. And this one will give you the new template. The other ones are going to show you how to build a reality in the old template. They're going to be a lot shorter and probably cheaper. But this one, you're actually going to be able to build a whole new world by building a new you. Okay. So take a breath between these classes. Don't just power through them to stay in. The reason why I'm not doing this live is because so many of you guys have like FOMO, fear of missing out, or you're not caught up in class, so you just give up. And I just wanted our time to be our time when we're live, but to have these recording sessions for you to have in between. So remember, I just want to solidify that without changing the subconscious, nothing will change. All right. My son brought home some science, 5th grade science homework, and it was about matter. And it was about how you can change matter, which is physical reality. And the only way that you can change matter is by a chemical reaction or a spiritual reaction, which means if you cut paper, it's still paper. So ladies, if you lose 10 pounds, but don't change your subconscious mind, you're still going to feel fat. All right. If you go get a different house, but you don't change the subconscious mind, you have not changed the matter, which means it will always be what the original matter was built out of. So do not make changes in physical reality, especially big life decisions and commitments and obligations to anything that is going to create matter hardening somewhere, which means like this, we're going to tear down the reality that doesn't fit I am. We're going to let go of everything that is not I am. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to lose this, because your awareness is not going to let that happen. There might be some people, places, and things that you're going to choose to let go of once you start to really starting to feel your worth, but that will feel organic and natural and normal. There might be people who leave you, but again, when your vibration changes into the I am, there will be a cast change. It will be all improvements. You will also notice the intimates, the ones that are playing your intimates or intimate ICs. Those people will shift. Now their entire job is going to prove your worth. How's that feel? That means that every person in your reality has to always be playing off of your script. So how you're going to know the script has changed ultimately is, first of all, you're going to know before you see the changes. And then because you know I am, and it's matching I am, every single thing will mold around this. You have ultimate choice and ultimate power. So do not give up if you're in the middle of a loop, or you just ended a loop, or you've just all in a surrender, or you've just been down here letting the loop smack you for 15 years. It's okay. Nothing, no damage is permanent here because you are in a holographic reality, which means if your body feels old and like, what's the point? I've already ruined this one. The body doesn't know how old it is. It regenerates itself brand new every 11 months, which means that as long as you are not running the loop next time, you could take the clock back as far as you want to go and affirm how old you are, and I'll show you how to prove that, because there is a scale that will test every month that will show your metabolic age, which basically is how old your cells believe they are, and they will tell you, and you will watch the clock go backwards. So your ego identity, the one who is designed to keep you focused, will now have to work and manipulate and do whatever it needs to do to make sure that you are worthy, because we're not here to kill our egos. We're here to give it a new job. All right. Its job is to run the subconscious programming, and it's exactly what it's going to do on the other side. It's going to run the program of worthiness for you. And your life is going to be all the differences that it's never been able to get to, regardless of your backstory. Now you can see why I'm always saying, let go of your story. Take this off. Give me 90 days to be your guide, and you will literally have the rest of your life to write your own story. Okay, guys? Sit with this. Go back, watch certain parts of it. Really make some acceptance notes. Like, really look for patterns and like loops that constantly prove, and they'll feel like devalued. It'll feel like disrespect. It'll feel like disappointment. It'll feel like it's not fair. It will feel like, what's the point? It'll feel like giving up. It'll feel like you're being attacked and judged. It's going to feel like divergence, like you're being separated. It's going to feel like defeat. Okay? So if any of those things have happened in your time, relationship, health, or money, write them down so that we know what to create the opposite of. Without acceptance and allowing of your current circumstances to be fully seen, we cannot unpack your baggage properly. And we don't want to leave anything under the radar when we're creating this new you. We don't want to create this new you and, oh, we forgot this one. So as much of this kind of fundamental, non-judgmental research you can do with yourself right now. What am I not allowed to do, have, be, say, feel right now? That's your subconscious programming of the I am not that we're going to then turn into I am.